Jannelle Roscoe, so you're a marketing team of one, director of digital marketing at Lonza. Mm-hmm. Tell me, how do you like your job, first of all?
Oh, I love my job. I'll say that, and I think my family will agree because it's definitely all-consuming. But a lot of that comes from just me always wanting to learn more, always kind of chasing after more knowledge, chasing that curiosity, being able to just work in so many different areas that you just never get bored. So sometimes it's like, oh, you have to do so much, but it's like, no, I get to do so many things. I think it's just kind of flipping it on that aspect instead.
Yeah. Tell me about your panel this morning. I mean, it was a panel of one,
Yeah.
appropriately. You in the
Yep.
spotlight. What was that experience like?
Definitely nerve-wracking and definitely glad that it's over, but I'll say preparing for the panel was just an interesting personal exercise. It really kind of allowed me to kind of pull together those insights, and I think if just being able to share those with the people in the audience, people who are probably struggling probably a bit more even than I am, as teams of one, to say, what can I do? What can I do for my career? What can I do for my team? What can I do to improve, how marketing's viewed within my organization? And just really being able to provide some actionable insights to them, I would say, because I just really always kind of love to share what's worked for me in hopes that it can work for someone else. So if someone, at least one person, got something out of it that they can take and kind of really help them in their day-to-day job, then I'm pleased.
Yeah. So talk about your approach to marketing as a person of one. You've got a plan. You're executing on it. What's the first thing you focus on when you're building out the things you're going to do?
Wow. I mean, it's hard to ask what's the first thing because it's never, I don't know if I'm ever really looking at one thing in unison, but it's looking at, is this what the customer is asking for, right? We're bringing something to market and we're bringing a plan to market. So you're really looking at, is the market receptive to this offer? Are they ready for this offer? Is it just us always, is it just us saying, hey, we're great? Or is this really receptive to the customer?
Tell me about how you build out for reporting.
Perfect question. So I'm always thinking about the reporting from even the start of the plan. So I like to be involved early in a marketing plan. I am responsible for some parts of the marketing plan, so I like to be involved as early as the whole marketing plan so I can advise on what are we reporting on, have we set up our back-end systems to support that reporting, are we looking at, are we establishing benchmarks based on our previous campaigns? I think it's very important because as you're reporting to leadership, you can't just say this campaign had 2,000 clicks and this had 40 leads. Is that good or is that bad? So it's looking at your other campaign performance to establish what those benchmarks are, setting those early in your campaign, and then looking at the channel performance to kind of really understand what's the goal of that campaign and setting those metrics appropriately. And then in the end, if you've set all of that up correctly, then your reporting will just kind of roll easily.
I like that. I've interviewed hundreds of marketers, and I don't know if we've ever talked about that specifically, but thinking about what you're going to report on before you even start figuring out what you're going to execute, like what can we know, what would be good to know, et cetera.
Exactly, because they don't think about that, and that's what makes my job hard, because they don't think about that. So that's why I kind of like to advise on that in the beginning, because everyone's going to ask in the end. Because that was stuff I saw, like, when I was very junior and early on in my career, and I was just like digging in the back ends of systems. I was like, I bet people don't even think about this, or they don't even know how this campaign performed, and there's just constant execution, right? And it was just like, you really have to know, what do you want to measure? What's the goal? What's the outcome? And are you setting your campaign up appropriately?
That brings me to something that wasn't really on my list, but are you empowered at all to do little experiments to figure out what else you could try since you're so metric focused? I mean, I don't think a lot of companies take let's take a small pot of money and try something totally different just to see.
Very much so. I think because of my role, because the level of it now, very much empowered, and I've never really been scared to try new things either. So I've just kind of took that authority where I could. I was like, if no one tells me no, I'm going to do it. But I'm always being asked by the fellow marketeers I work with when it comes to like digital marketing, what else can we do? If you had this much more money, what would you do? What else can we try? So I think I'm in a marketing team that really fosters kind of that mindset of what else can we do, and never really being able to. But as the reporting person in me is always like, how do we measure it? Someone's gonna ask what's the ROI on it? Was it successful? So I think it's having that duality there that is very conducive to trying new things and also being ready to share, did it work or not?
Right, but if you're metrics focused, then that is the environment in which to do those experiments. Like we could find out something.
Exactly, but being metric focused, I'm also one to know sometimes it's just awareness, and being a person that's in marketing, you just have to really understand sometimes your metrics aren't going to always be that much focused on demand funnel and revenue, but you just have to know we just have to do this because you're aware of where the customer is and what the customer needs to hear.
As a sort of a top of the funnel marketer, I would hug you right now. It's like, yes, there's just some things you just have to do.
You just have to do it. You can't measure everything, and I'm aware of that, to say you just can't measure everything. So I know that too. Yeah.
Should we talk about AI?
I mean, we can. But
We can. You're not excited about it. Are you using any AI?
I think everyone is, but it's, being limited by, organizational constraints about what you can do. I think if you're in a smaller org, you probably can do more. But I think, with personal reasons, of course, everyone's using AI. I use it probably more for building frameworks of best practice and say, hey, I want to develop this social media strategy across these channels. Which channels should I use for this? What would you recommend? So I think it's more of building frameworks that I can then kind of roll into my digital marketing strategy.
I like it. Using it sort of as an advisor more than a generator.
Yes, and also even to compare different tools, right? Because sometimes, of course, you can ask, but it's like, I need to do this one thing. I was like, one question I had, like, I need to empower sales to kind of send out these series of emails. I have this tool and this tool. Which one should I use, and what are the benefits, pros and cons of using each? And it's, great summary, and it just kind of help guide what it is. So, because it pulls everything from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Your executive leadership team or your management team, what do you wish they knew about your job that they might not?
That, I don't know if they think they do know that it is fully the job of multiple people, that if one person can do this well, imagine what one person with additional resources could do. So, yeah.
Jannelle Roscoe, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
Mine as well.